Congressman, your reaction to this news that Biden and McCarthy will meet tomorrow, how hopeful are you that they will kind of bridge this divide and come to some sort of agreement in time to stave off this kind of economic catastrophe?
Well, thanks for having me on, Charles. I know that they're going to continue talking, but at the end of the day, the deal that should happen is we do what every American family does, is you pay your bills so that you don't lose your home and ruin your credit, and then you go about figuring out the budget like we're supposed to. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. That's the process we're supposed to be doing right now. The problem the Republicans are having is that the bill that they passed, that was their so-called negotiation, had 22% cuts to all non-defense discretionary spending. That's veterans benefits, that's education, healthcare, things like Meals on Wheels. And it's such a crazy budget that they can't actually put it on paper. So they put a few parts of it out, but the challenge they have is their rhetoric can't match what they can actually put on a bill. And part of the negotiations is that I think they're trying to save face on this. All that matters right now is we lift the debt ceiling so that we pay our bills. Then we're going to the normal appropriations process like Congress does. But, holding the nation hostage because there are extreme people, extreme MAGA folks in the Republican caucus is not an excuse.
Congressman, a few weeks ago, it seemed like the Biden administration had the upper hand in terms of how the public was perceiving this battle. Now it seems like McCarthy is feeling more emboldened. Do Republicans not worry that they're going to be blamed like they were back in 2001, or do they believe, and maybe the White House believes, that that blame will this time be shared between both of them?
Well, if we don't meet our bills, it's bad for everyone, right? It's going to hurt the president, and hurting the U.S. economy will hurt the president. But it also hurts every single American. I mean, what happens is you'll have immediately a loss of jobs, immediately an increase in interest rates for people buying homes and small businesses trying to buy equipment. Immediately you'll see a drop in stocks, and that'll affect everyone's retirement. I mean, that's the very real ramifications of what's out there. And, somehow Kevin McCarthy has convinced people that a deal is to be had, but he forgets to tell everyone that 86 times we've lifted the debt ceiling, 3 times under President Trump, without all of this fanfare that they're doing. They're playing a very dangerous game of chicken because they simply can't write a budget to match that 22% cut that they said they want to do. And right now they're going to hold every single American hostage. The problem is, at some point, we may have negative effects coming even before we get to having a deal. And it's not like you turn the switch off and then you turn it back on and everything is fine. We've had some economists talk to us just as recently as last Thursday. And if you do even just a little bit of a delay, it could take years to fix what's happened. So this is a bad game of chicken the Republicans are doing. I think everyone will feel some pain, but we should remember the only people that aren't willing to do what we've done 86 times previously is the House Republican majority, and that's Kevin McCarthy.
Congressman, MSNBC columnist Steve Bannon says that we should stop looking at the debt ceiling standoff as normal. He writes, GOP leaders are threatening to harm Americans on purpose, and to shrug one's shoulders and see this as routine is to miss not only how U.S. politics traditionally worked, but also how honorable elected officials are supposed to conduct the people's business. How do you react to that?
He's absolutely right. I mean, this is one of the dumbest things we do in Congress, and we do a lot of dumb things there. I've been there now 10.5 years. My first session, I was on the Budget Committee, and we had this issue come up. And it makes no sense that after Congress has authorized spending and spent money, that there's a second follow-up vote of whether or not you're going to pay the bills you just said you're going to spend money on. I mean, if you sign a mortgage with your home, you don't then suddenly decide every month whether or not you're going to pay that mortgage. Because if you don't, you lose your home and your credit's destroyed. It's the same thing for the federal government. So one, we shouldn't even have this. This came in place back in 1917. It was about having a limit on how many war bonds were bought. And now today it's just allowing a small group of people, the extreme MAGA cult members of that Republican caucus, to just try to screw everything up. And since Kevin McCarthy has given Marjorie Taylor Greene and everyone else apparently the set of keys, that's what we're facing. This should never even exist exist. And I think that's why a lot of us have said, you know, Mr. President, maybe invoke the 14th Amendment. Let's make sure we never go through this again, because it's a really risky game of chicken.
Congressman Mark Pocan, thank you so much for your time tonight, sir.